And out front now, Republican Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And Chairman, I really appreciate your time. So, you heard Melissa talking about step by step in the South. And it had been much slower than expected at first, but it has picked up steam. I mean, it appears from all accounts that the Ukrainians have picked up some serious steam in the South. Secretary of State Blinken in Kyiv is saying as much. But you saw the defense minister, obviously, Reznikov, very well known, public face of the war, sacked amid a corruption probe. Do you believe it is still worth it for the United States to send whatever needs to be sent to Ukraine?
Absolutely. And what was key about what Melissa was saying is that the offensive is successful because they're still on the offensive. When Ukraine was able to make that shift, that they're on the offensive and not just the defensive, and that line was one that they were challenging. Excuse me. It wasn't just Russia, holding the line and progressing into Ukraine. That made a big difference.
So, as you know, of course, I mean, you've been steadfast in your support, but there are many Republicans who are very vocal, questioning it and saying that this is not a national interest to the United States. What is this? What is America doing? Here are a few of your colleagues.
We're actually helping China, weakening ourselves, all to figure out which guy in a sweatsuit gets to run Crimea. And that doesn't seem like America's interest to me.
The United States needs to be pushing for peace in Ukraine, not funding a proxy war with Russia. We can't afford another foreign war.
There's conflicts all over the world that we're not getting involved in. And this is Europe's war. We ought to let them fight it.
All right. I know you talked to them. And how do you break through? How do you convince them that it's not the way they see it?
Well, they're not really the audience. I mean, obviously, they have a very public position, and they're making it known. The audience really is the American public, and I think the American public understand that we actually have to listen to our adversary, that what they say makes a difference. What Vladimir Putin has said are his intentions require that we be involved. It's not just Ukraine, or that Ukraine is a democracy, that the atrocities that are happening need to stop. Even though that should be enough. But what's greater what's greater is that Putin has said it's not just about Ukraine. It's about Eastern Europe. It's about Poland. Yes. This is his design to really expand a war in Europe and to try to take territory that he believes that he wrongly lost when the Soviet Union collapsed.
And there's also the role here. The United States has decisions to make about what to send in terms of weapons, equipment, money, all of that. But perhaps the most powerful individual in the United States when it comes to this war is Elon Musk, right? With his Starlink, it has been crucial for the war. Ukraine wouldn't be where they are without him. And yet, CNN's exclusively reporting that Walter Isaacson's forthcoming biography of Musk says that Musk secretly ordered the Starlink satellite service turned off near Crimea to disrupt a Ukrainian sneak attack on the Russian Navy there. He turned it off so that the Ukrainians couldn't do it because he had a fear that that would provoke Putin to use nuclear weapons. Now, Chairman, when you hear that and you think about Elon Musk was able to stop an attack, what do you think about a private citizen, a billionaire who's very vocal about what he thinks in any given moment about any given thing, to have this much power in this war?
Well, one thing that's clear is the Starlink system was absolutely essential for Ukraine to defend themselves.
Yes.
And you certainly get into this gray area of where the private sector and state action and conflicts arise. I mean, we sometimes have it in when you look at the defense industrial base. But when you have in actual operations of a conflict, it certainly gets more problematic. But in looking at this, overall, the Starlink system and Elon Musk's support for Ukraine has been overwhelmingly positive.
Overwhelmingly positive. And so when you see this, do you cringe, or you just say on balance it's still been good?
I think that
both.
Yes, that this has had an unbelievable impact. Ukraine would not be where it is today if it had not been for Starlink and the ability for Elon Musk to step in and say, I'm going to give them the capabilities that Russia's working diligently to take down.
Right. Yeah. It is incredible, though, to think one person can say, okay, you can do this, but not do that in terms of attacks. And
on the reverse, Putin probably sees it the other way, that he shouldn't be in there at all.
Right. So, well, that's a fair point. All right. Well, Chairman, it's good to see you, and I appreciate it. Nice to have you in person.